Welcome. Welcome to Divine Understanding 2. In these sessions, we refer a lot to our true nature, and our true nature as an incarnated soul in a human body system, sort of like a hermit crab, living in this shell. And then when we're done with the shell, we leave, and then we come back in our next shell. And many of you can relate to that. Tonight we're going to do something different. We're going to build upon this understanding to truly know ourselves as part of all creation. We're also going to get to deeply experience and know the collective role of humanity on Earth at this time of great changes. As humanity on this planet advance to their next evolutionary step. So if you're on the playback and you hit a section where you'd like to just pause and allow that section to keep working before you continue, please feel free to do so. It's a wonderful thing. In these sessions, I often do the opening prior to coming onto the recording. I've already connected to all my guides, my teachers, those ascended masters who direct the work of Shaktify and guide us all through these processes. Tonight, I'm going to do this on the recording because I think that you'll get more understanding when you realize the interconnectedness of things, and that we all are interconnected through the various grids, through your node in the center of the core of being. When I go through this opening, I'm going to do it slowly and explain some of the steps in the process. When you go to do your sadhana, it's good to do sadhana as your daily spiritual practice. It's good to do some form of opening for yourself. So those of you who know these things, bear with, because there's much coming in this wonderful energy session. So the first thing we do in the opening is we create the cube of space in a specific way with specific archangels. In Hebrew they're referred to as the Ophanim. And we can use the English names, but some of the English names have been so perturbed and misused, some of them not understood. One of the angels' names in English comes from the Greek, and it's Christos. And that's the name of the angel. It's not the name of Master Jesus. That's not who we're referring to. And there's many, many people on this planet who, when you say the word Christ, whether you're referring to Master Jesus or the Christed state of being, or Christos, the name of an angel, their whole entire energy field reacts to it, and not always in a positive way. And these are from deep-set things, usually in our causal body. So, to avoid all of that, and helping to avoid the mind getting in the way. I like to use the ancient Hebrew names for these angels. These are the same names that Master Jesus would have used. And here at Shaktify, we take from all the religions the truth, and we combine the truth. I tend to be not the scientist trying to figure out how things work, but I'm more like the engineer, trying to figure out how we can use this information, how we can use this. So good. When we do the opening, we like to start in the east. We're calling these archangels, these Ophanim, in a specific order, in a specific way, to create this cube of space. And this is the way that works. And it works very, very well. So, keep doing it. We keep using the same models over and over again in Shaktify until those models prove to be not valid or there's something better comes along. So in the East, we refer to Raphael, same as in the English. And when I call in these angels, we use sacred geometry. We use that six-pointed star, the seal of Solomon, as we do with many things. So if from the east we go around clockwise, south, west, and north, and then we go up, down, and in the middle, the names of the angels going around are very, very similar to the English names. But the ones on the vertical path, above us, below us, and in the center, those names are a little bit different. So the names are Raphael, Michael, Gabriel, Uriel. And then Earle, Kra'el, Yesharel in the center. In Hebrew, when you put the yud at the end of a noun, it makes it my. Or is light. So Uriel, El is God. Uriel is my light is God. And above is Earle, God's light. Subtle difference in pronunciation, big difference in meaning. Earle, you probably know as Metatron. Earle, you know if you've read any of the Old Testament. Every time it says Almighty God, it's usually Earle, Metatron, who's speaking at the time. So above we have God's light, Earle. Below, in English, it's Sandalphon. Many people don't even know the Archangel Sandalphon. But we'll use the Hebrew word, Kra'el. Kra'el means to call out to God. And Kra'el is also the name of that tube, if you will, that goes from your node in the center of the core being straight up through, referred to as the Antakarana in Sanskrit. So above we have God's light, And below we have calling out to God. And in the middle we have Yeshar El. And Yeshar, in modern Hebrew even, is a straight line. So this straight line is going up, this Antakarana, this Kara'el, to call out to God on a straight line to God's light. And then from there, we'll go into the 3-breath technique. A very, very important little technique that does so much to keep you on your path. It helps you stay aligned, stay centered. It brings in frequencies that your body system hasn't had before and allows you to, as one of my students says, move that peanut along the path. Shall we begin? Raphael, Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, Earle, Krael, Yesharel, come forth now with all your choirs of angels and angels of healing, and help us with this session. This is where you can put your little prayer. It changes each time as to what you're trying to accomplish. Please create sacred space around us and help us with this session. Help us to understand and experience the interconnectedness of creation and God's role. Not God's role, humanity's role in lighted creation. So that's all good, that's all wonderful. Thank you, dear Lord, so much. Amen, amen, and amen. Amen, amen, and amen. Saying it 6 times, creating those 2 triangles. Amen comes from the Hebrew ani ma'amin, I believe. And then we do the same with Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzbaot. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God of hosts. And when we make this seal, we're allowing God to make this seal through us. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzbaot. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzbaot. And we have that upward pointing triangle in the seal of Solomon. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzbaot. At the bottom. Then up to this side. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzbaot. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzbaot. And we have the seal of Solomon. And then we place that bindi. And you don't have to use your hands to do this. But we put that little bindi point, like on a Sri Yantra, the Sri Chakra for those who know that culture. This is part of the yantra of Ganapati. We put a dot in the middle, and with that dot we say Malo Kol Haaretz Kvodo, who fills all the land with his wondrous works. We've called out to them, and they've answered. Perhaps you're experiencing the energy, this cube of space that we've set up. And I don't want to get into the cube of space and all of that. Perhaps some other time. Other teachers have described it. So now, the 3-breath technique. So let's be in the center of the core of being. Just tell yourself to be there. Close your eyes. It helps you focus. And in the center of the core of being, it's sort of like being in the center of a hurricane, not a tornado, which happens to be one of the most beautiful days you've ever experienced. You've had all this rain and deluge from the hurricane, and then you're in the middle, in that peaceful center. And your mom starts yelling about her new rugs in the basement, and you watch your dad's 57 Chevy start floating down the street. But it's the most beautiful day. And all the birds come out and they start singing. And the energy is incredible, as it is in the center of the core being. Choose to be there now. In the center of the core being, we have all of this whirlwind going around and around and around, just like a hurricane. And that's all the Maya, all the illusion, and it's very easy to get sucked up into it. So that's why we choose to be in the center of the core of being, right there at your node. And this is that node on the grid of humanity. This is that node on the grid of the planet. And so many other grid systems pass through there. That's all good. And in this space, can you feel the quiet? This is a distraction-free zone. The mind chatter has gone away, and the emotions have subsided, if not gone completely away as well. And this is that still point, this is that 0 point that they're creating devices to help you achieve. And you're doing it now. Right there in the center of the core being by that node. This is that space between breaths that is talked about. This is that place where they say, "Be still and know that I am God." Be still and know. Be still. Be. So the first step in the 3-breath technique is to be in the center of the core being. The second step is to have the thought to activate the base chakra. The base chakra is not on the body, it's below the feet. And we'll talk about all that some other time. So much to know. And then we choose to be deep within the I Am presence. Some people have the wording, "Be at the throne of God," and that wording works better for them. Other people use the wording, "Be deep in the unified field," or "Be in the oneness." Whatever wording works best for you. And now we take 3 relaxed breaths through your nose if you can. Relaxed is more important than deep. And when we're done, we choose to be back in the center of the core being. Right there at your node. And perhaps you can sense this, but you've brought back from the I Am presence additional frequencies, additional waveforms, that which you needed right now. So let's activate it, energize it, amplify it, and lock it in on your node in the center of the core being. It's a gift from Source. It's a gift from God. It's a gift from however you want to refer to the Creator, the pre-existent one, the one that existed before creation existed. So we activate it, energize, amplify it, lock it in on our node, and we allow it to permeate our entirety. Each person is about 55 feet. That's 16.7 meters in diameter. Is it a perfect sphere? No. But it's a close enough approximation. So we allow this energy. We accept this energy. We integrate with this energy. And we implement this energy in our lives. And many of the work we do, this alchemical work, is just that. We choose it. We allow it. We accept it. We integrate it. Some people prefer to say we allow it to integrate. And then we implement it in our lives. That's the whole purpose. To change. To not be the way you were, but the way God is intending you to be. Gracefully. Easily. Good, good, good. So here we are, floating in the center of the core being. Some of you are sensing all the energy there. Everything is in the center of the core being. You have access to absolutely everything. The entire universal database. When you locate yourself in the brain, when you identify yourself as the brain, then you're limited to the data from this local incarnation that you're experiencing now. So it's the center of the core being that you want. And you can stay there if you understand that you are consciousness. God created you in God's image. God is consciousness. Not some Charlton Heston looking thing. God is consciousness, and God can take very many forms, and has manifested various aspects of itself. For God is the Father, and God is the Mother. God is. experience these energies fully. And we haven't even really done anything yet. So the goal of all this is to increase the energy in the body system so that the higher self can come down and merge. So let me explain what I mean by that. The Antakarana is going from the center of the core being all the way up to the I Am Presence. And if those frequencies were to enter your body, this crystalline structure, it would explode. Think of Ella Fitzgerald in the goblet, crystal goblet. So God, in God's infinite wisdom, put this thing to float along that Antakarana in between ourselves and all of our bodies down here on earth, and the I Am Presence at the top. And this thing has many names in English. It's called the upper aura, the higher self, the upper room, the soul, the Christed over self. All different ways of saying that. Perhaps you know someone, or you can see auras in people, and you can sometimes detect this higher self. As you prepare these lower body systems, your soul is no longer needed to protect this delicate body system. So it can descend along that tube, that Antakarana, that Earle, and start to merge. When I was a child, I remember watching PBS, and I saw this motivational speaker. And his head just glowed, and I could see this upper aura from him intersecting his lower energies through his head. And I was fascinated by him. And my mother couldn't understand why I was watching this guy who was talking about stuff that I didn't understand. But it just amazed me. And that's the process. That's the process of an awakened one. Whether it's in Christianity and you call it a Christed being, or in Buddhism and you call it a Buddha. This is that process, this universal process that crosses all religions. Good. So when you do that, and you fully merge, you become enlightened, you become a master. And then when you leave this place, you become an ascended master. So what does an ascended master do? They don't just sit around on the beach sucking up pina coladas. No, they're dedicated to service. And so they continue to serve. And one of the things that they do is they sometimes take on the role of a logi. We use the Greek words for these. Logos for a singular one, and the group of them are logi. These are ascended masters who have taken on the duties and responsibilities for various regions throughout the universe. And there's an Earth Logos, there's one for our solar system, etc. And it's all part of creation. We connect to these logi with that base chakra we talked about, the one below the feet. It's about 6 to 8 inches. And when you have the thought to activate that base chakra, all of a sudden energy will start running in your legs again and through your whole body, as if you had stopped the flow of blood in your legs and it's now rushing back. You might experience tingling in your toes. Some people experience it going all the way up their legs. And that's a wonderful thing. Energy needs to flow. And it's not your energy or my energy. It's just energy. And when we refer to somebody's energy, what we're really referring to is their energy signature. Which frequencies and which waveforms do they choose to allow to go through them? And everything is energy. So if somebody is angry or upset, you can walk into that room and sense it before you ever see their face or their body or anything. You just know it. And it's not just me, many people can. Just sense that. Sometimes you knew as a child when you got home, you knew your mother or your father were upset with you. You could just sense it, whether you knew why or not. It's the energy that's going through, the energy that we perceive as we receive it. There's information in this silent communication. So energy needs to flow. It needs to be grounded to light the light bulb. And so we do this. So one of the things I like to do first in the center of the core being is say this quick little sentence, because it affects my energy field, and how people perceive, how I perceive others, and how they perceive me. Why don't you choose to do that with me now? In the center of the core being, just say, I command that all of my bodies immediately balance, align, center, and ground. And upon doing so, the energy starts to flow. But this is about understanding how we connect to everything. So let's keep our eyes closed. And with love and gratitude and respect for these great beings, let's connect the base chakra to the center of the earth. And you may feel your energy just shift and balance and readjust itself to come to a new stasis point. And let's connect the base chakra to the earth logos. And let's connect the base chakra to Mother Gaia, the planet itself, who is a living spiritual being. It just doesn't seem that way when you're perceiving Mother Gaia, you're perceiving this planet just from a three-dimensional standpoint. Our bodies are in 24 dimensions. The awakened body is in 12 dimensions. The light body is in 20. We're aware of only a small fraction of what we're capable of. So I want to share from all of the studying and all the experiences I've had, those pieces with you that can help you on your path. That's my reason for doing this. So let's connect the base chakra to the center of the solar system, because the Earth is part of the solar system. And let's connect the base chakra to the solar logos. Let's connect the base chakra now to the center of the Pleiadian system, because our sun is part of the Pleiades. Go ahead, look it up on the internet. Our sun is revolving around on a path that's not fixed in space, and it's part of the Pleiadian constellation, the Pleiadian group of stars. Maybe you've heard this word before, maybe you haven't. And in the Pleiadian group of stars, there's many of them with systems, and the ones with life have loci. So let's connect the base chakra to the Pleiadian Council of Loci. Now what I like to connect to is the place where I had my first incarnation. And you might not know what star system it was in. Maybe it was the Pleiades and you were right here on Earth. Maybe it was on one of the other planets in the Pleiadian system with life. There's nothing to fear here. God created creation. And creation created everything within creation. There was darkness, and God created the light. And we are of that light. There's a wonderful prayer in Sanskrit. The energy in it is absolutely magnificent. And it speaks about, may all people in all loka, in all locations, dwell in peace and happiness. That's not a direct translation. There's better translations. Let's experience that. Close your eyes. Be in the center of the core being. And just feel the energy that comes to you from these words. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta Sukhino bhavantu. Lokaha samastaha Sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om is that universal syllable, that universal sound of the Divine Father. Shanti is peace. Feels pretty good. So let's keep connecting and see where we connect to. So let's connect the base chakra to the center of your root star system. This is the place where you had your first incarnation. Maybe your first incarnation was in the Betelgeuse system. They have some of the finest healers anywhere. So maybe you find yourself going towards those abilities and capabilities and employment and career. Maybe it was in Sirius. Maybe it was in Arcturus. So we connect the base chakra now to the center of our root star system. If you know the name, you can use the name. But don't just choose the one you want it to be. Better to use the words your root star system. And let's connect the base chakra to your root star logos. And allow this energy. So grateful that you're reconnecting. And let's connect the base chakra to the center of the Arcturus system. Because in Arcturus there is a midway station that souls from this region go through as they advance on their path. So I like to connect there, and I teach people to connect there, to establish that path for us to go through. So let's connect the base chakra to the center of the Arcturus system. And let's connect the base chakra to the Arcturus system logos. Let's connect the base chakra to the Arcturus midway station. And let's connect the base chakra to the Arcturus midway station logos. Now let's connect the base chakra to the center of the Milky Way. This point, the center of the Milky Way, was an ancient god, I believe of the Aztecs. I could be wrong, it could have been the Mayan. I don't think it was the Inca. Feel the energy that goes through you when you do so. And let's connect the base chakra to the logos of the Milky Way. And let's connect the base chakra to the center of the universe. This point, this place, is what the Native Americans referred to as the Great Spirit. All the different cultures, they all have a piece of truth. Let's keep the truth. Let's connect the base chakra to the cosmic logos. And even my students who have gone through this with me before are experiencing it now quite differently, as we're doing each one of these, not quickly to get through the opening, but truly savoring each connection with love, with respect, with gratitude. Because the Earth Logos can help you with things of the physical body, and those interconnected layers between the physical body and the other bodies. The Solar Logos can assist you with issues of the emotional body, and the personality layers are contained within the emotional body. This is my understanding. This is what I've discovered as I've experimented. The Galactic Logos can help you with issues of the mental body. The Cosmic Logos can help you with issues of the causal body. And it's these four bodies that affect this incarnation you're going through more than any of the other bodies. Unless you choose to transcend them and learn how to work with the rest of your being. So we can connect the base chakra to the center of all that is. And this is a wonderful place to get to this point and meditate. We can connect the base chakra to the center of lighted creation. Experience that. Some people prefer one, the other. And we can connect the base chakra to the Lord of all the logi. Can you imagine the responsibilities and duties at that level? Truly a wonderful, wonderful thing. Good. It's just so wonderful. And we haven't even done anything really. So now let's breathe in some Shakti, some divine energy. Chi, but specific Chi. Let's choose to breathe in divine joy. Just breathe in divine joy. Have that thought and do it. If you can stay in the center of the core of being, great. If you can't, stay there. then go back there and just breathe in divine joy. Breathe it in, fill the center of the core being with divine joy. Activate it means turn it on. Energize it. It means kick it up into the excited state just by having the thought. This all works through quantum. We amplify it like turning up the knob on the stereo. And then we choose to anchor it on our node, this divine joy. And allow divine joy to spread through your whole being. Perhaps you're experiencing it now. Perhaps you're feeling that smile building up inside. You just can't keep it off your face. Divine joy is a state of being. It's a choice. Happiness requires something external. Another person makes you happy. Being with any other person might make you happy. Being in a certain location might make you happy. Certain foods might make you happy. And it's all relying and dependent upon external things. Joy is not. Joy is a state of being, and you can choose it whenever we want. Let's talk about something else. God. We are not God. We are part of God. We're like a molecule in God's body. We are part of the oneness, part of that unified field. So God is everything. So God is here, and God is there. And God can't get from here to there, because God is both, without limitation. God can't move. He can't go from here to there, because He's already in both places. Or she. So we were created in God's image as consciousness, with limitations. Because when you have limitations, you can go from here to there. You can create ways to go from here to there. So if you can move, you can change. And if you can change, you can grow. Because growth is change. Simple enough to understand. So God, in God's infinite wisdom, created us with these limitations to come here, to send our experiences back to God, so that God can grow, because the parts of God grow. So God sees through your eyes. God hears through your ears. God experiences what you experience. And God is aware of all of that. And you have free will choice. You have the free will choice to choose what God sees what God hears and what God experiences in every moment of your incarnation. Interesting, huh? And humanity is one of many root races in the universe. And humanity is on the brink of going through to a new paradigm shift, a new way of being. And I know there's been plenty of people saying that, and the world's going to end and all this. I'm not saying any of that. It's a graceful, gradual process that's continuing in good times and bad times. And remember that God gets to see what you see, hear what you hear, experience what you experience. So in the center of the core being, you can ask God for help. You can ask God to help change you, heal you, get you to a better way of being. And it works. I was once homeless. I know it works. I've experienced it working. And we are all interconnected. And as humanity shifts and changes, the species of humanity, the root race, and that doesn't mean black, white, orange, brown, purple, all of it. Humanity is on the brink of going through this new threshold. So it is our role within humanity to make this all happen. And it doesn't take a lot of us to do it. It does not take a lot. Perhaps some of you know the theory of the 100th monkey. And this is my version of it. There's an island A over here, and there's monkeys on this island. And over here, there's island B, and there's monkeys on this island. And none of the monkeys eat coconuts. Then one day, a coconut falls from a tree on this island. And remember, the monkeys here can't get to the monkeys here. They're not even aware that the other colony exists. And a coconut falls, it hits a rock, right? Perfect. And there's a monkey there, and it sees it happening. And it goes over and it checks it out, and boy, is the coconut delicious. So then the monkey spent a lot of time sitting under the tree, waiting for another coconut to fall. So the monkey, she figured out how to climb the tree, pick the coconut off the tree and bring it down. Well, actually throw it down at the rocks. Then learning how to purposefully smash the coconuts on the rocks. And she ate a lot of coconut. And monkey see, monkey do. Other monkeys on this island started eating coconuts. And all of a sudden, the 100th monkey started eating coconuts. And the monkeys on this island all started eating coconuts, as if overnight. And what is this saying? This is talking about mass consciousness, the mass consciousness of monkeydom. I'll give you an example from the mass consciousness of humanity. Little kids, without being taught, with no one saying a word to them, they go into the woods and they find little red berries, and they know not to eat little red berries. Why? Because a long time ago, perhaps it was a caveman of some sort, they ate red berries, they got sick, some died. And it went into the mass consciousness of humanity, don't eat the red berries. And I say this because you may have experienced this yourself as a kid, walking through woods near where you lived. Same kind of concept. Well, just like when Einstein thought up his theory of relativity, they then were able to find a mathematician, because Einstein wasn't the best of mathematicians, to find the equation that would describe this E equals mc squared, right? So energy is mass times this huge number, the speed of light squared. That didn't interest me. But if you do a little algebra, you find out that m equals E over c squared. Mass is nothing more than very slow moving energy. So in the same way, I think it was in the early 2000s at some point that they found the equation for this. And the 100th monkey theory seems to be the square root of 1% of a population. And if you took the population of the world in the late 60s, and you took 1% of it, and took the square root of that, you'd come up with this number. And amazingly, without being connected to this theory, without being connected to the math that was, 35, 40 years away from being discovered, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi came up with the concept of having that number of pundits and meditators meditating continuously 24/7 the world over. People would come in and start, and somebody else would leave. And they even have a project going on like that today in Fairfield, Iowa. Amazing that number should have been known to him. But that's the purpose of it. If enough of us get this, if enough of us connect and are able to have this higher self come down that Kara-El, come down that Antakarana, and merge with our lower body systems, then all of humanity would be able to do the same in a much easier way. Some of you are familiar with Saint Germain. He's what's called a way shower. The first person who goes through something, it's more difficult. And each successive person who goes through that, it becomes easier and easier and easier. Until now there are many cultures and many groups using the violet flame of transformation from Saint Germain. So here we are. Master Jesus came to show us the way. He lived to show us how we can live. He lived to show us how we could be. He was one of the way showers. And this doesn't mean you're going to get locked up in a monastery somewhere. Absolutely not. It's about living life your way, according to the will of God, allowing these higher energies to go through you. Who knows what you're be capable of? And that's the subject of our next one of these energy sessions. By doing these simple things that I've shown you today, very, very simple, just creating that space around you. Raphael, Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, Earle, Krael, Yesharel, come forth now with all your choirs of angels and angels of healing, and help us with this session and put your little prayer there. Be in the center of the core of being. Activate the base chakra. Choose to be deep in the I Am presence. Take 3 relaxed deep breaths. Through your nose if you can. It's not essential, but it is better. And then be back. Just choose to be in the center of the core of being. Activate, energize, amplify. Anchor these energies on your node. And allow these energies to permeate your entirety. That 55 foot in diameter, 16.7 meters in diameter. That's 2.5 stories of a building away from you in every direction. It's huge. That's how large we are. And then in the center of the core of being, you can connect to these various loci, these various places. And I'd recommend highly the center of lighted creation and the center of all that is as wonderful places to connect to meditate, or to pray. To be in the center of the core being at your node. That be still and know that I am God. Be still and know. Be still. Be. That place. That 0 point. How simple. How easy. In the center of the core being, I command that all of my bodies immediately balance, align, center, and ground. And some of my students just rattle through all 4. Nothing wrong with that. But personally, I like to experience each one as I go through it. So I pause. You'll do what you think is best for you. And I applaud you for that. And I'm grateful for you doing that. And then you can do any practice from any teacher whatsoever. And that practice will be enhanced, I guarantee. Hopefully these practices are from beings of the light, teachers who are teaching of the light. And then you can choose how you want to be. Ask for divine joy. Ask for divine abundance. Ask for divine prosperity. Ask for divine grace. Ask for divine healing. Breathe it in. Fill the center of the core being. Activate, energize, amplify. Anchor it on your node in the center of the core being. And allow it to permeate your being. And you can give it a purpose. And maybe you don't even know which Shakti to use. So you just ask for the appropriate Shakti or the necessary Shakti. and you allow it to permeate your entirety for the purpose that you've chosen. Changing through energetic alchemy. And it works. It works very, very well. And I thank you for starting on this path. I thank you for choosing to do these things. Because as more and more of us do it, we will hit that magic number where all of a sudden all of humanity will be raised up in the light. Because if you read the book at the end, you start with the end of the last book, you'll find out that in the end, the light wins. So let's work on that. Let's make this happen. And it doesn't matter what religion you are, these techniques will work for you. Hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully you'll start doing it, if nothing but to experiment with it. I thank you so very, very much for helping all of humanity at this time. It will help this next evolutionary step of humanity in a wondrous way. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the 100th monkey. And thank you. If you find this work helpful, then please help this work continue. There are expenses to this work. And so I ask that you go to shaktify.com. Information's below in the video. And please make a donation. Don't go into debt to do it. Take it from the abundance and prosperity which God has given you already, which you have participated in and created for yourself. And I thank you in advance for that. And so, my friends,